This is wild, guys. Now, for those of you who watched the main channel, I covered this today in great detail. I'm going to do a brief overview of it and then dive into other stuff tonight surrounding this situation. But suffice it to say, holy crap. This post by allegedly one of Alyssa's lawyers, Don McGowan, is so bad that you could provide this to the court and the judge, and they could theoretically just throw the suit out on this. I said, Alyssa's activist lawyers just said the quiet part out loud. What we've presumed since day one. The case is to create an example to push their agenda forward. This was never about me at all, which is what I've been saying since day one, because I knew how ridiculous it was. I'm like, there's more going on behind the scenes. Like, you don't even need a tinfoil hat for this. Quote unquote, Alyssa is going to make law, and that law will hopefully be the beginning of the turnaround against today's hate-filled internet. Turns out the actual harassment campaign was them against me the whole time. How ironic. And I CC'd my lawyer, Ron Coleman. And Don McGowan posted on LinkedIn, which he has since blocked me on LinkedIn, so I cannot see this. This was sent to me via a DM, via an anonymous source that would prefer to remain unnamed. And they said, hey, check out one of Alyssa's lawyers said. And I read this and I was like, well, that explains why they blocked me. They didn't want me to see this kind of stuff. Holy crap, this is wild. Don McGowan said, I've mentioned on here that I'm working, which, why did he capitalize the word on and here? I just noticed that. That I'm working on litigation about Gamergate. Here's a video from our client. And this is messaging on LinkedIn with Alyssa's video, which leads me to believe that, I mean, that's his client. Who decided to chronicle the amount of harassment she receives on a daily basis from the internet's worst people. So according to Don McGowan, apparently people who criticize poor journalism at Kotaku, will say, are now worse than PDF files. That's quite a leap, Don McGowan. I don't know if you meant to say it that way, but you're saying we are the worst people on the internet. The internet's worst people. Your words. I don't know if you're trying to throw us into that bucket or if you actually think we are the worst people. But either way, bro, yikes. He continues and he says, somewhat unsurprisingly, the first version of this video was taken down by YouTube because she didn't obscure the email address of the guy who was sending her consistent rape threats, which, again, as I covered in my video with this specifically, it doesn't matter if you're a serial killer. You're not allowed to share personal information on YouTube. That is a terms of service violation. Do I agree with it? Not necessarily. Is it a rule? Yep. And if you're on YouTube, unfortunately, you need to abide by that. As a lawyer, Don McGowan, you would think that you would understand how rules and regulations work on platforms, but apparently rules for thee, not for me with that. He continues, yes, YouTube, that's definitely private information. If ever you wondered whether YouTube profits from harassment, note that none of the videos where people are reveling in sending her rape threats have ever been taken down. Who is reveling and that happening anywhere? Like, I'm not even speaking for myself. Like, I'm watching any videos talking about Alyssa. I've never once, and I mean this, I've never once seen any creator revel in people posting rape threats about her. Ever. For anyone. Like, legit. that would reflect so poorly on you as a content creator. That's legit career suicide, even if you wanted to do that. But no one's doing that. Like, I'm not seeing that, because those careers would have been ended if they did do that, because people push against that. I would speak against that. I would legit be defending Alyssa if someone was doing that, which is crazy, but that's how much people stand against that kind of stuff. But again, we have Don McGowan here inventing this fake reality that he's living in, and he's pretending his brain is reassuring and reaffirming these things that he's saying, like this is actually what it's like, when it's not. About 15 months ago, when Alyssa wrote the article she mentions, she also asked, where are the men who said last time that they would never stand for watching women be harassed? I said, hey, I'm men, bro. This sounds like a cucks for Kamala. I'm a man, Alyssa. I'll be your guy. I'll speak up for you. And I don't even have a job to lose anymore. I wonder why, Don. I wonder why. So I put out a series of tweets in which I was referencing my years running the trust and safety programs at various employers, and how those programs are aimed to keep out assholes. Bro, you sound like the biggest asshole in the room right now. Why would you be in charge of any of that, ever? Who would give you any power and control on anything, anywhere? This got so much rage from the dork web. So it's the dark corners of the internet by Alyssa's standards. It's the dork web from Don McGowan that Fox News wrote a hit piece against me. Okay, so now Don McGowan is legit the male version of Alyssa. So I have 0.1% of understanding of what this must be like for her. Alyssa is going to make law, which I don't think that's proper English. Going to make law. I think you mean make a new law, or this situation is going to create a new law. The verbiage is so weird here, but whatever. This is the wildest, craziest, zaniest part about the entire thing, is the beginning of the third paragraph. And this is where he said the quiet part out loud. I mean, if the beginning two paragraphs weren't crazy enough, Alyssa's going to make law, and that law will hopefully be the beginning of the turnaround of today's hate-filled internet. Bro, turn off your computer. You cannot control the internet. The internet always wins. You cannot fight against that tide. You can enjoy the internet. You can go on it and talk to people. They can push back against you. You can have a conversation with them. It's all fair game, keeping it in bounds. As long as people don't start contacting people's wives, start trying to contact conventions and getting them banned from them, as long as people keep it above the belt and talk to each other, there's no issues at all. In fact, I would argue your client, Don, is the bad person in all of this, is the hate-filled person in this argument, is the person that is going out of bounds and doing things completely unacceptable in the eyes of the internet. And you don't do that with the internet. It's a very dangerous beast that you awaken when you start poking it. Don't do that. You cannot win this fight. You will never win this fight. Even if I lose this lawsuit, you will not win this fight. The internet is and forever will be undefeated. I don't know how else to tell you this except for sit the fuck down, learn your place, and turn off your screen and go do something else, because this clearly is not for you. Of course, it'd be extra hard to turn the ship around now that its primary locus of support for the current U.S. president, because obviously TDS, even still, we beat on boats against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past. Now, I will tell you guys straight up, while I'm not at liberty to give you names of people I've spoken to, many people intimately familiar with this one Don McGowan character have told me about just how scummy of a, I guess you could try to call him a human, if you want to go that far, of a human being he really is. When you think of lawyers being the scummiest people on the planet, when lawyers are the butt of every joke, and you start talking to lawyers and you see the ambulance chasers, you see the awful ones out there, you're like, oh, I kind of get why lawyers are kind of looked down upon in society. No, 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 no. Don McGowan is the reason. People like him are the worst type of lawyer on the planet. They are using it to push an activist agenda instead of reinforcing the established law. That is a problem. That is a concern. That is basically the modern day Jack Thompson of, what was he, Florida, pushing against Grand Theft Auto, trying to get GTA banned back in the day. I look at Don McGowan as the next version of that guy. This guy is awful. There's a reason why he's been out of work. There's a reason why no law firms want to hire him. There's a reason why he picked up Alyssa's case and pushed forward with it. If she were to win, this would be not just a financial windfall for him and his agenda to push forward, but in addition to that, and I would argue even more important than that, is the power and control, which ultimately people like Don McGowan, that's what they live for. This guy probably has more money than he needs. He has a shit ton of money from the Pokemon company. He backed the Pokemon Detective Pikachu movie. He's got money. I would almost argue that's what makes this guy dangerous. Is he doesn't really care about money. He cares about power at this point. And if there's an activist with money that doesn't care about losing it, that's when you got to really worry about it. Damage Sector says, how did you feel when you found out Pikachu's previous lawyer was on the case? Was it ... shocking? Sorry, I had to. But yes, I agree. Rufus Grimm, he says, if I had money, I'd disappear. Well, I mean, if I had the kind of money he had, I would definitely not be wasting my time filing frivolous lawsuits against nobodies on the internet, which ultimately, ironically, brings us into a harassment campaign against me. The very thing they're trying to say that I'm doing to them, ironically, they're doing to me. But anyways, I digress. Give me a second here. Nobody says, what did Ron say about this? I'll tell you what Ron said about this. You know what Ron said about this? Because I did talk to Ron about this. You know what he said? I'll tell you what he said. He said, hey, can you send that to me? And that's all he said. I said, sure thing, boss. There you go. But yes, we did chat about it for sure. GDR for the 5 bagger says, lawyers like to be overbearing so they have something to self-suck to later. Fair. I know, allegedly, by the way. Allegedly. All of this is allegedly. Ron Coleman, legend. Absolutely. And tell us what he said. Sorry, I had to drink my water. That was for anticipatory effect. And plus, I was really thirsty. Loading up for the ammunition. No, I just thought it was funny because he was just like, can you send that to me? It was nothing to implicate Ron. He was very professional. Ron is the ultimate consummate professional. Like, he's very, very by the book. Hey, can you send that to me? Here's what I'm thinking of doing here. Like, it's legit down to earth. Let's keep logical heads, keep our heads above water here, figure out what's going on, keep sane. Like, what's this? What's that? I love Ron. I'm so grateful to have found him because my goodness, it would be a mess without him.